Welcome to The Big Story. I'm Gretchen Ho.
I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Sean Yao.
Tonight's big stories: a not so favorable end of the political year for the president and vice president as their trust ratings slip again amid their bickering.
And as we get closer to the new year, there are more reports of firecracker-related injuries and other medical emergencies. And later we will check the situation in some hospitals.
But it is still a night of celebration for many. Thousands are ringing in 2025 with street parties from Taguig to Quezon City, and we will take you there in a bit.
We are on the final day of 2024, December 31 it is, and we begin tonight's newscast with the last survey for the year from the social weather stations. The latest SWS poll show the trust ratings of President Bongbong Marcos and Vice President Sara Duterte dipping further amid a political bickering that heightened several weeks ago. Marcos's trust rating fell to 54% from 57% in September. Duterte's trust score also dipped to 52% from 55%. This brings the president's net trust rating to plus 29 from the previous plus 33, while the VP's net score is at plus 23, down 6 points from plus 29 in September. This SWS survey was commissioned by research think tank Strat-based Consultancy and was conducted between December 12 and 18 amongst 2,160 adult respondents.
Well, ayun na nga, no? May huling pahabol pa si SWS survey. Akala ko mag-check na lang tayo ng New Year's parties tonight, but again, this comes out. And yesterday, napirmahan yung
The budget
the
for
budget.
2025 and 194 billion pesos worth of vetoed items.
Well, certainly
from
that does not
PBBM.
play into this result.
Certainly
right?
not,
Kasi
no.
December 12 to 18. Pero nagulat nga din ako na mayroon pang pahabol kasi parang at the end, usually pag December, iba na yung utak ng mga tao nasa celebration
Bakasyon
na.
na.
Maybe inflation
Plays a part
right?
because every day you feel the effect, especially kung holiday season na talagang
At wala
ang
kang
daming
pera.
gastos.
Oo.
Yes.
Well, we will ask our guest for tonight about those numbers. Let's break it down and see what they mean from Dindo Manhit, founder and now president and CEO of the Strat-based group. Good evening. Welcome to The Big Story.
Hi. Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Sir Dindo. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to the three of you.
Well, first, let's talk about this survey. Is it usual that you ask to commission this survey from December 12 to 18 at this time of the year? And checking the net trust scores, yung 6 points differential of the vice president going down by 6 points and the 4% differential of President Bongbong Marcos going down by 4, is that significant enough to tell us something by the end of 2024?
It's significant, especially for the vice president, because she has gone down quarter after quarter since the first half of 2024. On the part of the president, it remains steady, but it's really challenged by the key concerns of Filipinos, which are really gut issues of, I would always say in Filipino, presyo ng bilihin, trabaho, kita. So it's a gut issues that people are not satisfied when their life is not as good as they would like it to be.
Well, taking a look at the whole of 2024, how much have those numbers gone down for both the president and the vice president?
I would take note more of the vice president. It has gone down double digits. On the part of the president, since last year, end of last year, because of the challenges of inflation, it has gone down tremendously, but it has become steady. If government will implement programs as interventions to high prices of goods, then maybe he can recover.
Okay, but
On the
dito,
part of
carry on.
on the part of the vice president, it's really the challenge, the questions that have been raised about her use of public funds, I think is affecting her trust rating among the Filipino people.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is because, usually, no, pag, when you're talking about jobs, taas ng presyo ng bilihin, and these gut issues, usually we look to the president or, dare I say, we blame him or we thank him pag nag-improve, right? Not usually the vice president. So with the vice president, what you're saying is you're noticing that these issues are actually reflecting in the numbers. Kumbaga, itong mga controversial funds issue, confidential funds issues rather, yung mga paggastos, yung mga hearings. So they're starting to take a toll on her numbers.
Yes, I think what the public wants is either transparency on her part, what has really happened with those public funds, and maybe some responses are even saying that she should be made accountable if there was really misuse of those funds.
Is there anything that she can do to improve her numbers going into, a midterm election year?
The best way is really to be as open and transparent about what has happened over those funds and really make yourself accountable and let the public accept or not accept your explanation. But silence towards it creates doubt.
Prof. Dindo, did the budget also affect in any way PBBM's trust rating? Since the survey was conducted around that time, there have been issues on him approving or vetoing. Did you also take into account the budget in this survey?
Not much, I think. When you dig deep into the issues that was on top of the minds of people, it's really got issues of, as I've said earlier, prices, jobs, and also income. So the budget is not a concern because it has not been executed. Normally, these discussions that we hear about, it's limited to a smaller audience than the broader concerns, which really got issues for the Filipino people.
Okay, so medyo may weight yung pinag-usapan namin kanina na maaaring bumaba ang trust numbers because it is Christmas season after all where people feel the pinch on their wallets. I mean, yung ba ang trend tuwing Disyembre na bumababa talaga yung trust ratings given the nature of the season?
Not really, but we have seen it since 2022. I think this is a global phenomena that the world is experiencing high inflation. I even use the phrase cost of living crisis. It's how our government addresses it. It's the best way to address low numbers. So going into an election season, we hope that our government, with all its programs, now with an approved budget, focuses on how to improve the lives of our people vis-a-vis the cost of their living.
Okay, we are showing the graphs on TV right now, no, Professor Dindo, and we can see medyo parang slide talaga yung linya. It is a big drop, as you said. And like we mentioned, since we are going into an election year, and of course this would be, as everyone has been saying, a litmus test for the administration. You did say his numbers have kind of evened out. Kumbaga naging flat na lang siya kahit na it's going down a little bit. What does this say about the administration candidates and what kind of work do they have to do, as well as the administration, to even have a batting chance or a big chance in the midterms?
All data reflects that the administration will win weak in 2025 because the president has built a coalition that brings different political forces together, and we see them winning strong in 2025. Even with these challenges on some key issues. Imagine if the president and the administration can even address these key issues in the next 5 months as we go into the election, then they'll come out strong as they end the first half of the administration in June 2025.
And yet we know that the Dutertes are not a stranger to challenges. The former president even offered himself as a lawyer for the vice president in the impeachment trial if it gets to that. Magaling po pagdating sa optics, pagdating sa playing it in the public eye, ang pamilya Duterte. What do they have to do to turn this around?
As you've said, optics. I think what the public is asking is not optics. What they want is honesty about how the funds were misused or wasn't used properly, and address the key concerns or questions being made. Because a lot of the questions during the hearings are all coming from commission and audit report. That means these are official audit of our government, state institutions of our government. So beyond the optics, what is important is address this issue, answer this issue, and maybe the public will give them support.
But given that, as you said, no, that you project that the admin will still win big in the midterms. I mean, even if they don't address the issues, it tells me parang whatever they do or don't do, their numbers.
sorry.
I mean, yes.
Sorry, I'm referring to the Duterte on the issue, not addressing the issues. Because the question was the President Duterte.
Yes, so I was referring actually to the earlier part, no, when you said that
Okay,
most of the
okay.
people are looking for solutions to our gut issues, our cost of living crisis, so to speak. What can the administration do to really make the people feel that they're doing something about it?
When you look at inflation, there's really no way to address it because we don't like government to control our economic life. Best, I think, is for government to create an environment for investments to prosper in 2025, for jobs to be created. As we create jobs, people's lives will be better. Their income will be better. Their livelihood will be better.
And yet, the criticism with the budget approved by the president is that it does not have a strong economic plan in place, that it is driving patronage politics and...
Not really. Not really. When I think we're all reacting to some commentaries because the rest of the budget is full of government intervention if we will follow the programs of NEDA and the different departments. What is being questioned is the insertions of certain projects which has patronage nature.
Actually, kasi
But
maraming...
the budget as a whole,
Oo.
the budget as a whole is defined by the Philippine Development Plan that has been defined by our own NEDA, which is Secretary Balisacan and BBM. The question really is, why did members of Congress of both houses insert more projects that will address their patronage initiatives?
Marami daw po kasing nabawasan na social services katulad ng health, education, at parang nilagay yung budget doon sa kailangan pang dumaan sa politiko imbis na sa sistema o sa ahensya. Ayun po, ano po masasabi niyo doon?
Important dyan is the execution. At the end of the day, budget will be approved and the President, I think, did a good job by vetoing some provisions of these questioned areas. So now it's about executing these remaining programs and projects that it goes straight to the public, the constituency, the Filipino people.
Well, Prof, how imperative is this situation right now? Do you see their numbers declining even further, at least in the first quarter of 2025, if they don't address these gut issues immediately?
I see the government, if they execute the programs, projects as defined specifically, program projects of the government can improve from where they are or will improve and will come out even stronger from this lesson if they will not allow patronage politics to reign.
Okay. Actually, I just had a thought, though, Professor Dindo. Since it is ayuda heavy, this year's budget, and as you said, no, the people will actually feel the budget, no matter how much they toss it back and forth up there in the higher echelons of the administration, the higher echelons of power. Do you think that's enough for people? I mean, at the end of the day, if you're getting money, is it going to be perceived as a good thing? And is that going to reflect in their numbers?
You have to understand the budget also. The program that you are questioning is no different from the 4 Ps that we saw as far back as the Aquino administration. So they just changed the terminology. So what we need to happen is for these programs and projects to directly go to the Filipino people and doesn't pass through the political system.
Actually, yung 4 Ps po ay kailangan na may conditional kasi yun, ano? Ibig sabihin, kailangan ikaw ay pumapasok,
Yes.
nag-aaral, at pagkatapos
it's
nung
conditional
proseso na
based on
yun,
your
oo, pinapasa mo na sa
Yes.
susunod, sa ibang benepisyaryo. Pero itong AKAP, tinignan po natin, may application siya, but it is also, I mean, if you take a look at the qualifiers, yung social worker ang magde-decide, pero yung conditionality niya, parang hindi malinaw. Pwede, actually, in fact, you can avail continuously after three months, nakasulat doon. May funeral, may medical, may food. So kung titignan po natin,
why
yung
we have
4Ps
to-
at yung AKAP, hindi
That's
po
why you
siya...
have to. That's why you have to look at the vetoed budget. You're all reacting to the budget that was not vetoed by the president. Yeah.
Are
So
you
we have to look at those things and wait for. I don't think you have seen. I have not seen the provisions that were vetoed by the president. You are all reacting to what was raised in the news by certain individuals. So, and that's why I emphasize the term execution of the budget.
Okay. And while we wait for that to happen, because there's nothing to do but wait, it is a holiday after all. Let me just ask you, Dindo, I heard you guys did also commission a party list survey under SWS. Can you tell us what that survey or what those survey results look like and what are the implications coming into the midterms?
There are really no implications, but the reality of democracy, when they look at party lists, these are brands that maybe they consider as one that is helpful to them or addresses their issues as voters. But always remember, surveys are simply snapshots. So we will be doing this in the next few months and see how the trend happens. Where does it go?
What for you was the most notable political happening in 2024?
The most important, I think, is really the political division between the president's broader coalition. So he has built his own unity coalition, and we have seen this in his candidate and the group of President Duterte through the daughter, Sara Duterte. So we will see where the public would go come 2025.
Okay. And how do you see... Okay, given what you just said about it's basically a Marcos versus Duterte, and a lot of people are saying, and as you said, no, the Marcoses have come up with this big coalition that unites a lot of sectors that usually we do not see on the same side of the political fence. How important
Yes.
was coming up and securing that coalition? The numbers also of this survey that we're talking about. For the trust ratings, the December one, it also shows that the Sara Duterte continuously losing ground in the Visayas. Does this, kind of swing things towards the administration's way, toward the speaker's way, because he's from Leyte?
Yeah. It's, again, if this coalition holds up in 2025 May, you would see the administration of Marcos getting stronger and collectively working with the broader political groups in the Philippines and move the country forward.
All right, thank you so much for weighing in on with us in the year of 2024. We look forward to speaking with you again in 2025. Thank you for joining The Big Story. Happy New Year to you, Strat-based Group President CEO Dindo Manhir.
Still on President Marcos and the 2025 budget, which he recently signed after a so-called thorough review. For budget watchdogs, the 6.326 trillion peso General Appropriations Act, or GAA, remains flawed despite PBBM's last-minute revisions. For one, UP School of Economics professor and former Finance Undersecretary Cielo Magno says line items slashed from the coffers worth 194 billion pesos are just a drop in the bucket. Marcos and his economic team cut 26 billion pesos from the DPWH's fund and 168 billion pesos in unprogrammed appropriations. For his part, former Senate President Frank Drilon believes that line items were only vetoed by the president to avoid constitutional challenges to the GAA. Under the 1987 Charter, education should get the lion's share of the national budget. In an earlier version of the spending bill, which was ratified by Congress, Public Works got the highest allocation with over 288 billion pesos in additional funding. Technically now, the education sector has the biggest chunk of the budget after the presidential veto, with accumulated funding total for the DepEd, state universities, colleges, CHED, and TESDA.
Marami pa rin na iwan na pork barrel doon po sa DPWH budget. Insertions po ang tawag. Kaya wala masyadong pagbabago.
Parang pakonsuelo de bobo lang po talaga yung ginawa ng presidente na kunwari hinimas-himas yung budget at kunwari ay responsive.
we're going to pause for a quick break, but right after that, a little over 3 hours to go before we welcome 2025, and so far, more firecracker injuries have gone to hospital emergency rooms. We'll have an update on that when we return. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. You're still watching the big story here on One News. It is just hours left till the new year comes. And as you mentioned, it's not just the number to go before the new year comes, but also the number of fireworks-related injuries going up as we approach the countdown to the new year. The Department of Health recorded 25 new cases today, bringing the number to 188. Most injuries are still caused by illegal fireworks, such as Boga, 5-Star, and Piccolo. And most of the victims are below 19 years of age. Now let's check how hospitals are preparing for the expected influx of fireworks-related injuries later. Mobile journalist Denise Valdesancho is at Jose Reyes Memorial Medical Center to give us an update. Magandang gabi! Happy New Year! Kamusta ang selebrasyon dyan? At ano ang numero ng mga natanggap nilang pasyente so far?
Good evening, ladies. Dito nga tayo ngayon sa Jose Reyes Memorial Medical Center sa Santa Cruz, Manila, at hindi na bago sa kanila ang paghahanda tuwing bisperas ng bagong taon for any firework-related injuries. As of now, as of 8:30 p.m., nakatala ay 18 o 18 na cases of any firework-related injury, in which 11 ay active, meaning directly na apektuhan ng mga ito, nagsindi na putukan, 7 naman or 7 are passive, mga nadamay lang, mga napadaan o nasa gilid-gilid na damay. Katunayan, 3 days ago lang, 2 patient ang na-admit for operation, pero inassure naman tayo na na-discharge na ang mga pasyenteng ito. Itong 2 patients na binigay kanina sa atin, ito yung major as of now na confirmed case dito sa Jose Reyes. Isa ay adult na napuruhan ng daliri. Samantalang yung isa naman, below 18, 2 daliri ang nawala, yung middle finger at yung ring finger, mula yan sa paputok na King Kong. And for the rest, these are just minor injuries, most of which mga kalalakihan at mga kabataan below 18. Kanina rin, they disclosed na mas mataas nga raw ang cases ngayong taon compared to the previous years. At December 26, no, as of now, ito yung pinakamaraming cases na meron tayo, 7 yan. Kung isa-isahin natin, ano nga ba yung mga paputok na nakatala dito sa data, pinakamarami dyan mula sa King Kong, 5-Star, Sparkler, Plapla, at Piccolo. And for the types of injuries, no, karamihan dyan na at natamaan talaga yung mata, yung mga kamay, at syempre the lower extremities, yung paa, yung legs, yung thighs. Yan.
Okay, Denise, kanina nanood ako ng primetime news sa Frontline Pilipinas. Isa daw sa mga dahilan kaya nagsisitaasan yung mga numero ay dahil sa online benta ng fireworks. Natuntun mo ba yung dahilan kung bakit mas mataas ang mga numbers ngayon?
Mas dahil nga daw as of now, dahil yung iba nga iba late nang bumili ngayon, at actually hindi. Yung isa sa dinisclose sa atin, marami nga kasi yung mga nakakurious na kabataan daw ngayon at nakakahawaan. Actually, kanina lang, meron pa tayong isang kaso dito, napapasok lang, hindi pa lang naitatala, puro kabataan. Kaya yung mga barka-barkada daw, ngayong oras pa lang, actually, kanina pa tayo nakabantay dito, nagpapaputok na as early as the morning, mas naparami nung bandang hapon. Kaya even if hindi sila nagsinde, hindi sila yung nagpaputok, sila mismo naapektuhan or nadadamay sa mga kaso ng paputok. Hindi naman, yun nga, illegal pa rin ang mga paputok ngayon at medyo nagmahal. Pero hindi talaga maiwasan na may mga bumili at gumamit dahil nga nakasanayan na gumamit ng paputok tuwing bagong taon.
Kasi meron nga mga TikTok videos
Oo,
daw eh.
totoo talaga.
Oo eh.
Eh, tsaka yung curiosity, no, talagang mahirap labanan yan. Pero Denise, eto pa, no, speaking of curiosity, alam naman natin, syempre, kahit na holiday ngayon, kailangan magtrabaho ng ating magigiting ng mga doktor at nurses. Kamusta ang preparations? At syempre, I'm sure they're expecting more injured people to walk in as we approach 12 midnight. But also, how are they celebrating over there? May ganun bang way na parang may maliit na handaan?
Oo. Sean, ladies, alam mo sanay na, ang mga personal dito, ang mga doktor na dito mag-celebrate ng New Year, pero kanina lang, meron silang maliit na handaan sa may lobby, may mga handaan, Shanghai, syempre hindi mawawala yung mga ganyang maliit na salo-salo dahil nga hindi naman porket, meron silang preparation for the New Year, hindi na sila pwedeng mag-celebrate. But as of now, of course, hands-on pa rin ang ating personnel sa pagtanggap ng mga pasyente, ng mga na-injured, lalo na inaasahan nila na darami yan mamayang pagpatak ng 12 a.m. and most especially after 12 a.m. So far ngayon, 8:30 p.m. kalmado pa ang lagay dito sa Santa Cruz. But everybody is on duty, especially yung mga nasa team ng surgery and hands on deck, everybody here sa may emergency room.
Alright, maraming salamat sa iyong update. Mag-ingat ka rin as you celebrate the New Year and you go back to your home. Kahit nga sabi mo, kasi hindi naman kailangan ikaw yung magpaputok para matamaan ito. No? So please do take care for us and i-celebrate mo kami kasama ng mga natin. Frontliner pa rin ba tawag?
Frontliners. Oo, frontliners pa
Thank you so much for joining us, mobile journalist Denise Valdez Sancho.
Okay, from Santa Cruz, let's move on over to Quezon City. Let's check the situation over at the East Avenue Medical Center. Reporting to us live from there is mobile journalist Amy Atienza. Amy, hi, good evening. How many injuries related to fireworks have gone into the ER there at East Ave?
Good evening, ladies, and Happy New Year. Andito nga tayo ngayon sa East Avenue Medical Center kung saan nakapagtala na sila ng 12 kaso ng firecrackers-related injury. And so far, para naman sa mga staff, mas kaunti daw ito sa bilang na nakuha nila at this point in time compared to last year. Pero yun nga, kung makikita natin yung datos ng Department of Health, makikita natin na mas tumaas nga yung bilang ng mga na-injured dahil sa mga firecrackers na yan. 10 dun sa 12 kaso ng firecracker incidents, makikita natin na discharged na sila. Pero yung isa na nakakonfine pa dito, isa siyang 61-year-old female na taga Bocaue, Bulacan at nag-suffer siya ng 3rd-degree burns at yun nga din ang nararanasan ng karamihan dito sa East Avenue Medical Center. Meron silang mga burns na nararanasan sa kanilang katawan, meron sa legs, meron din sa mga kamay. At yun nga, kinakailangan pa nilang gamutin nito. Pero yung iba naman ay talagang safe na at pwede nang i-discharge dito. Bukod pa dyan, meron din isa na patient na nawala ng daliri dahil daw sa whistle bomb firecracker na natamo. At ang masakla pa dito, isa siyang minor de edad. Kaya yun ang patuloy din ang paalala ng otoridad dito sa Avenue Medical Center na mag-ingat lahat ng mga kabataan kasi tulad nga din na nabalita ng kapwa mojo natin ay mas madami nga ang bilang ng mga otoridad na naapektuhan itong mga firecrackers.
Amy, really quickly lang, nung naglabas ng abiso yung DOH about itong mga coronary disease, mga stroke, heart attack, tumataas daw kasi yung incidence sa pagka ganitong celebration natin, no, Christmas and New Year. Meron din bang mga ganyang cases dyan sa East Ave?
Yes, actually, meron silang separate area na ginawa for those na nagsasuffer from the firecrackers-related injuries. Pero meron pa ding area dito sa emergency room kung saan meron ngang ilang mga dinala sa emergency area dahil nakaka-heart attack at talagang may konting paghinik na. So ayun, out of all age din naman yung range ng mga tao na dinadala dito sa emergency areas kung hindi naman related sa firecrackers yung insidente. Pero bukod pa dyan, inaasahan din nila na mas tataas pa yung bilang ng emergencies na makukuha nila for this year. Mamayang mga bandang 11 p.m. hanggang 12 midnight yan.
Well, Amy, taon-taon naman lagi nga naka-high alert ang mga ospital, lalo na pag New Year's Eve. Diyan ba sa East Avenue Medical Center, adequate ba yung mga staff? Nakapag-augment ba sila ng mga doktor, mga nurse, sa pag-expect nila na dadami nga o yung magkakaroon ng surge ng mga firecracker-related injuries at iba pa?
Yes, dahil nga around 52% na yung bilang kung titingnan sa national context, yung pagdami ng mga na-injure ngayon sa firecrackers. Actually, binisita ni Health Secretary Ted Herbosa itong East Avenue Medical Center noong December 21 para makita yung mga areas at ma-check kung okay ba yung mga monitoring areas, pati na rin yung waiting rooms para sa mga pasyente na dadalhin dito sa East Avenue Medical Center. Pero bukod dyan, syempre nagkaroon na din talaga sila ng separate area katulad nga na sinasabi ko para dun sa mga mai-injure dahil sa mga paputok, lalo na yung mga nai-injure dahil sa mga illegal na paputok ngayong bagong taon. At yun nga, meron naman silang patient holding areas, meron din silang treatment area na kumpleto naman daw sa mga medical supplies tsaka equipment na kinakailangan ng mga pasyente natin. At yun nga, so far, meron silang nakadeploy ngayon na 116 staff. So 94 dyan ay doctors, 11 ay nurses, 9 ay nursing aides for East Avenue Medical Center.
Dami yun Amy. Nakikita mo ba dyan yung celebration sa QC Circle?
Actually, medyo malayo pa yung area ng QC Circle, pero dahil nandito tayo sa labas, medyo kalmado pa rin talaga yung sitwasyon. Wala pang traffic kung pupunta man yung mga tao sa Quezon City Memorial Circle.
Mamaya na lang. Abangan natin.
Nakikita ko may
Midnight.
kumakaway na dyan sa likod. Alright, maraming salamat sa update. That was our mobile journalist Amy Atienza from East Avenue Medical Center. Happy New Year, Amy. At mag-ingat kayo dyan.
Right, we're taking another quick timeout, but up next, a lot of parties tonight as we welcome 2025. We'll head out to some of them and maybe give you an idea of where to go after the show. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Big Story here on One News. The New Year festivities across the metro are in full swing, and we will be checking in with different cities that are hosting their own New Year's Eve celebrations. Taguig City's NYE at the 5th is underway with an exciting lineup of local and international acts. Live in BGC, we have mobile journalist Yeda Pascual. How are these celebrations going, Yeda?
Gretchen, Sean, Pauline, napakaraming tao ngayon dito at patuloy nga yung pagdagsa ng mga taong pumupunta dito sa Bonifacio High Street dahil syempre kaabang-abang nga yung mga bigating artists na magpe-perform dito ngayong gabi.
Pwede bang pakita mo sa amin yung mga tao dyan? Parang wala kasi.
Nasa High
sa
Street
background
Central
mo
siya.
eh.
Nakikita ko yung
Oo.
background niya. Pero nakikita ko may mga
Yes, sa likod ng
tumatawid.
landmark.
Pahirapan ba yung signal sa loob kaya ka nasa labas?
Pero hindi. Tinatana.
O medyo maingay siguro.
Yes, tama ka dyan,
no?
Gretchen. Pahirapan yung signal doon sa loob at saka sobrang ingay.
Okay.
Kasi merong mga DJ na nag-perform at syempre sobrang dami nga na mga taong nakikiselebrate doon sa loob. Kaya minabuting muna natin lumabas dito.
O, sino bang mga aabangan tonight?
So magpe-perform nga ngayong gabi sina Juan Carlos Labajo, Rico Blanco, ang K-pop group na ITZY, ang electronic duo na Con, at ang pop star royalty na si Sarah Geronimo. Kaya kung makapansin dito sa paligid ko, doon kanina sa loob, talagang panay kabataan yung mga makikiparty ngayong gabi.
Dapat nandun din kami.
Baka sila lang, Yeda. Pero how early nagsimula dumating yung mga tao dyan at gaano karami na sila ngayon? May point pa ba kung sumunod si Pauline at si Gretchen after
Mga
ng news?
kabataan. At saka outdoor ba yan?
Yes, tama, Gretchen, outdoor event ito at pre-concert ito At inaasahan nga ay nasa around 60,000 yung attendees ngayong gabi. Kung ikukumpara mo last year, mas marami yan kasi last year nga ay nasa 50,000 yung mga attendees. So sabi nga ng mga marshal dito, alas 3 pa lang ng hapon, dumarami na yung mga pupunta dito mga kabataan at nag-aabang. Pero 7:30 PM pa, sinimula nga buksan yung gate dito sa 5th Avenue.
Ako, napakabigat
May parking
naman
pa
ng
ba?
list
Ang,
eh.
ang hirap mag-park dyan,
Oo,
ah.
for sure. Pero Yeda, yun nga no, kung dun sa mga gusto pang humabol, pwede pa ba? May space pa ba para maki-celebrate ng New Year's Eve dyan?
Yes, Pauline, pwede kayong kumabol. Dahil hanggang alauna pa naman itong party-party at itong countdown dito nga sa 5th Avenue. At pagdating sa parking, may mga available pa naman. Ako, nag-park ako sa Landmark. At meron namang mga marshal dyan. Meron din inassign na transport nga yung PMO ng Taguig City para mag-assist sa mga gustong mag-park, sa mga daan kung saan sarado. At kung gusto niyo maging updated, bisitahin yung Facebook page ng Bonifacio Global City.
Gaano kalayo yung lalakarin mo mula sa parking para makapunta dyan o kaya sa sakayan? At pangalawa, mayroon pa bang mga kainan? Kasi kanina, pahirapan din kami dito makakuha ng rider to get ourselves dinner. We were wondering what is the situation there when it comes to food and beverage.
Gretchen, bukas pa naman yung mga pagkain dito sa paligid ng Bonifacio High Street. At pagdating sa parking, hindi naman kalayuan. Maliban lang, siguro kung saan ka pupwesto, depende pa rin kasi. Pero dito sa 38th Avenue, dito sarado nga yung daan. So, ang nearest talaga na mapagparkingan is dito sa Landmark sa loob. So, 50 pesos naman yung parking fee dyan. Pero, Gretchen, paalala din pala sa mga pupunta, bawal magdala ng mga outside food and drinks. Kaya, mas maganda kung pupunta kayo dito, busog na kayo.
But it's good to know that there's food. Actually, that's a very that's one of the main concerns. Ay, mo naman gutom.
Oo, tsaka maraming
Sinasalubong
ang daming tips ni Eda from saan magpa-park,
Oo,
saan gaano kalayo lalakarin, at magkano yung parking.
Makakahabol na si Pauline.
Antayin mo ako, Yeda.
May magpa-park naman para sa'yo. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, mobile journalist Yeda Pascual.
Happy New Year. Okay. Okay, so kung medyo taga-norte kayo at ayaw nyo nang pumunta ng Taguig, punta naman tayo ngayon sa Bagong Silang, Caloocan, where we have our mobile journalist, Francis Orsio, on the ground to show us how they're counting down to the new year there in Caloocan. Francis, kamusta?
Yes, Sean, Gretch, and Pauline, ito nga, I've been to various communities and streets here in Bagong Silang, Caloocan City at talagang ramdam na ramdam yung pagsalubong nila dito sa bagong taon. Marami na yung kanya-kanyang pakulo para makapag-produce nga ng maiingay na kagamitan para nga makasabay doon sa pagputok mamaya ng bagong taon. May mga ilan. Kung kabilang ito ipinapakita natin, yung nagsiset up sila ng mga malalaking sound system sa kalsada at sa labas ng kanilang bahay para nga makisabay mamaya sa malalakas na tugtugan. Meron naman yung mga ilan na nagpapatunog ng mga motor nila. Although ipinagbabawal ito dito sa Caloocan City bilang direktiba na rin ng Caloocan City LGU, marami pa rin nga yung paggamit ng mga open pipe na nasa kanilang motor. Pero bukod doon, may mga bata rin na nagtotoroto na iba din na kabilang sa humalabag yung gumagamit ng boga. So marami, iba't ibang eksena yung kaninang nasaksihan natin dito sa Bagong Silang para sa pagsalubong sa bagong taon. Sean.
And how many people is the Caloocan City government expecting? Kung dun sa Taguig, inaasahan nila 60,000. Diyan naman sa Caloocan, gaano karami ang pinaghanda ng LGU? Kamusta rin yung safety, security, may parking ba? At sinong tutugtog?
Yes. Sean, kasi dito sa Caloocan, kanya-kanyang preparation sa mga communities. So wala talagang tansya yung local government unit ng Caloocan. How many residents will be yung tactical sa pagsalubong sa mga and government unit of the Caloocan ay wala daw silang fireworks display or any event for preparation para sa Caloocan LGU mamayang ating gabi. So sa ngayon, kanya-kanya yung mga residente sa pagsalubong at paghahanda sa bagong taon ng Sean. Pero ayun nga, gaya din ng naitanong ko kung paano naman dinamanage din ang authorities itong mga ilang sinabanggit natin sa itong pinagbabawal. Sa ngayon, the Caloocan LGU is one with the national government to promote yung safe New Year's Eve. Kaya nagpapatupad at marami ding nagpapatrolya na Caloocan City Police at ang Public Safety and Traffic Management Department dahil nga doon sa mga gumagamit ng boga at yung mga may ingay o yung open pipe na motor. Oras-oras din, sabi ng Caloocan City Mayor na nag-iikot yung iba't ibang Caloocan police substations para masigurong ligtas ang mga residente. Para naman doon talaga sa nakikita at maaaktuhan nilang lalabag ay kakasuhan, lalo na yung mga nasa wastong edad. According dito sa RA 7183 para nga doon sa ipinagbabawal sa paggamit ng paputok, kabilang yung boga, Budas belt, El Diablo, whistle bomb, paper racket, and among others na mga bawal talaga gamitin na paputok ngayong bagong taon. Habang yung mga menor de edad naman talaga na makuhuli nila, nalalabag dito sa kanilang pinatutupad na batas ay isa-surrender sa Caloocan City Social Welfare Development Department, Sean.
Francis, yung pangaraoke, walang curfew ngayon. Kasi sabi mo maraming speakers eh.
Yes, Gretch, sorry.
Yung pangaraoke, walang curfew.
Sa ngayon kasi, Gretch, sanay naman tayo na kapag bagong taon, talagang umaabot tayo ng umaga sa pagkakaraoke. Yung mga nag-set up ng malalaking sound system kahit dito sa kalsada, meron na silang mga nakaset up din na malalaking TV para doon na siguro sa hikinahon sa karaoke nila. So expected natin na hanggang sa pagpapit alas 12 ng January 2025 ay hingay dito sa bagong silang Caloocan, Friends.
Kailangan ng payong dyan, baka umulan.
100% sure magiging masaya ang New Year's Eve mo dyan sa Caloocan. Francis Orsio, maraming salamat at mag-ingat ka. Happy New Year sa'yo.
And moving over to Quezon City, the Quezon Memorial Circle is packed for the New Year's Eve countdown. Now let's head on over there where our mobile journalist, RR Tubisa, is currently on the scene. Hi RR, balita ko, star-studded ang lineup ng performers dyan sa QC Circle.
Nako, yes, ito nga, Gretchen, Sean, Pawi, ramdam na ang excitement ng Q Citizens sa pagsalubong ng 2025 dito sa Quezon City Memorial Circle. Ito, kitang-kita naman sa likod ko, rakrakan pa rin. Kanina pinangunahan na yan ng bandang Shamrock at ng performances ni Glock 9. At syempre yung biro nga nila si Glock 9, wala siyang apelido.
O sino pa bang mga abangan namin dyan? Ang ganda ng nasa likod mo.
Ang ganda ng mga ilaw. May fireworks ba mamaya? Ano pa nga in store for anyone who wants to party there in QC Memorial Circle?
Yes, actually, you know what guys, ito, of course, yan naman yung taon-taon na hinihintay dito sa Quezon City, yung fireworks display. Of course, yan yung pinaka-inaabangan na lahat ng Quezon, ng Q Citizens. Taunang ganap yan dito sa QC and people are expecting more than 10 minutes of fireworks display. So mamaya aabangan natin yan and hopefully mapakita natin sa ating mga kapatid worldwide yung mangyayari dito sa Quezon City.
Nakakita kami ng mga payong, umaambon-ambon ba dyan? At anong mga payo mo para sa mga gustong sumunod sa QC Circle?
I'm sorry po?
May nakikita kasi kaming mga payong, umaambon ba dyan? At ano ang payo mo sa mga susunod pa sa QC Circle?
Ayun, actually ngayon medyo okay na yung panahon. Kanina medyo umambon lang ng konti. Pero ngayon, mukhang tuloy-tuloy naman na walang ambon. At siguro mapapayo na lang natin sa mga pupunta pa dito, wag po tayo magdadala ng mga bote ng plastic dahil bawal po yan dito sa loob. And of course, bawal pa rin yung mga kontrabando gaya ng mga illegal drugs. Bawal din yung alak. Pero kung mauuhaw naman, meron dito mga water refilling station. Kaya magdala na lang tayo ng mga nare-refillan ng mga tumbler.
Ayan, good advice from RR. No?
Tuloy-tuloy lang yung rakrakan dyan, RR. Pero salamat sa report na yan at Happy New Year sa'yo. That was our mobile journalist, RR Tubise.
Okay, sa iba-ibang genre, no? Sa iba't ibang New Year celebrations, electronic music sa Taguig, rakrakan sa QC City. But wait, before we say goodbye, may isa pa. Okay, one more thing that everyone usually watches out for here in the newsroom, especially during all the New Year's revelry, is the birth of New Year babies. And one hospital where New Year babies are usually born is the Fabelia Hospital in Quezon City. We have mobile journalist Marymon Reyes over there. Marymon, is Fabelia expecting to deliver a New Year baby? Or should I ask, ilang New Year babies ang aabangan natin?
Good evening, ladies, and advance Happy New Year na agad. Dito sa Jose Fabelia Memorial Hospital, meron na kasi tayo for December 31, 8 na normal deliveries na. Pero December 31 yan. Pero for January 1, merong 3 mommies na currently admitted na dito and they are candidates for the New Year baby. So dito sa likuran natin, dyan magaganap lahat ng labor, lahat ng delivery. And on the other side, magiging waiting room din pagka natapos yung mga delivery or yung labor ng ating mga mommies para makapagpahinga pa sila and hopefully magkaroon tayo ng opportunity na ma-interview sila. And since nandito rin tayo ngayon sa bagong building ng Pabella Memorial Hospital, so far mas prepared ngayon and improved na rin ang kanilang mga services and equipment. So lahat ng mga doktora na dito, midwives, pedia, OB, gynae, anesthesia, anesthesiologists, lahat ready daw sila, hands-on sila and ready anytime. Kung sakali mang merong mapapaaga o merong as soon as 12 a.m. meron ng mga anak dito. Kasi last year, 2 yung naging New Year babies natin. Halos ilang minutes lang yung naging pagitan nila. Midnight, may isang pinanganak. After a few minutes, may pangalawang pinanganak. So 2 ang New Year babies natin. Pero for today, we will be checking on later by midnight or by the first thing in the morning of January 1 kung ilan nga ba ang magiging New Year babies natin, ladies.
Mary Mon, wala ka ba nakausap dyan na nanay? Kasi meron din kaming kilala na parang due date din niya baka January 1. Sabi ko, magtiis-tiis muna siya para hindi naman makasabay sa New Year yung birthday, di ba? Kumbaga parang ibang araw. Gusto ba nila na ipapanganak yung anak nila o talaga are they holding it somehow?
Well, based din sa history and yung mga last na reports kasi natin ko sa New Year babies, yung ilan sa mga to ay planado na. So, bilang na nila yung possible months ng labor nila or delivery nila. Well, for the others, nagkataon lang naman na baka manganak sila by January 1. Pero ang common na sentiment ng lahat ng mommies na mga nakausap natin so far is safe delivery, normal delivery, and hopefully no health complications both for the baby and of course for the mommies.
Mary Mon, I couldn't help but notice na merong tao sa likod mo. Na may mukhang pregnant mom. Isa ba siya dun sa mga possible New Year mommies na inaabangan natin?
No, mukhang si Mami na nandito sa aking likuran ay normal delivery na. So, since 9 o'clock, December 31 ang naging delivery date or date of birth ng kanyang dalang baby.
Pero Mary Mon, is there anything special awaiting the New Year babies? Na-wave na ba yung hospital fees nila? Or siguro may konting gift para sa kanila?
So far, ang alam natin dito ay walang mga babayaran daw lahat ng mga anak dito. Since ito yung national din na ospital para sa mga maternal and for the infants sa mga ipapanganak dito, sure naman na pagdating sa mga gastusin, halos walang iisipin ng mga mommies. Kailangan na lang talaga nilang mailabas ng safe at buo ang kanilang mga anak.
Okay, at mukhang ready ka na rin para abangan ang ating New Year's babies. Nagulat kami sa'yo. But Happy New Year in advance and thank you so much for that update. Our mobile journalist in Pabella Hospital, Mary Mon Reyes. Okay, that's it. Late. Wow. We overstayed. At pwede na si Pawi dumiretso ng BGC. Because that's it for the big story tonight and for the year, our last show for the year 2024.
Thank you so much for joining us this year. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
It is, I think, the 366th
It was a leap year.
Yes, it was a leap year in 2024.
Today.
Oh, and we forgot. Wow! Oh, Happy New Year to everybody, not just our viewers, but also the whole crew of The Big Story who stayed with us, the whole team here in One News, celebrating and working in the front lines. Thank you for journeying with us in 2024. See you in 2025 and a
Happy New Year!